Good morning, friends. Today we will be studying about carbohydrates. So, carbohydrates are broadly defined as polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones and their derivatives or as substances that yield one of these compounds. So, carbohydrates are defined as optically active polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones or the substances that will yield one of these compounds on hydrolysis. Okay, so carbohydrates are the most abundant class of biomolecules in nature and they are also known as saccharides. So saccharon is a Greek word which means sugar and they are widely distributed in plants and animals. Now carbohydrates are composed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So these are having three fundamental elements in them, that is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Now, as the definition says, polyhydroxy. What does this mean? That the functional group which is there over here, it includes hydroxyl groups. So, as it is polyhydroxy means many hydroxyl group. So, we can say there should be two or more hydroxyl groups and either aldehyde or ketone functional group should be present, or it has to be a substance that will yield one of these compounds on hydrolysis. Now what is written over here? OSE indicates sugar. Now you might have come across many words such as ribose, okay, or pentulose. So when OSE is the suffix, it means it has got sugar in it. So this is what we had studied. Carbohydrates are a major source of energy from our diet. It is composed of the elements carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. It is also called as saccharides, which means sugars. Now plants are considerably richer in carbohydrates in comparison to the animals. In fact, animals and plant tissues differ widely in the relative abundance of various major classes of constituent chemicals. Now, as we had seen in the previous slide, that it is composed of three major elements, that is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, but we need to understand this, that these three elements have to be present in the ratio 1:2:1. So this ratio is mandatory. That is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen are always found in 1:2:1 ratio. Okay, so that is why we say that the empirical formula of this will be CH2O. Okay. Now, it is a primary fuel source for body cells. That is, carbohydrates act as a fuel source for body cells. Obviously, as we know that we have got glycogen as a stored energy form in animals. Now, this carbohydrates is divided into two main classes, that is simple sugars and complex sugars. Now, when we talk about the classification of carbohydrates are classified mainly into two groups, that is sugars and non-sugars. Okay, so over here we can see it is classified as sugars and non-sugars. Now sugars are what? Sugars are sweet in taste and soluble in water. Obviously we use sugars in our daily lives and we know it is sweet in taste and it is soluble in water. And in sugars we have again two types, that is monosaccharides and oligosaccharides. Now what is monosaccharide? Monosaccharide, as the word says, mono, which means single or one, and saccharon, which means sugar. So we can say monosaccharides are simple sugars which possess a free aldehyde or ketone group and two or more hydroxyl groups. So these are the simple sugars which is sweet in taste, they are soluble in water and they're crystalline in nature. So what we said, monosaccharides are simple sugars. First, second, they are sweet in taste. Third, they are soluble in water. Fourth, they are crystalline in nature. Okay, now they can contain 3 to 10 carbon atoms, 2 or more hydroxyl groups and 1 aldehyde or 1 ketone group. Now we know that aldehyde group is what? It is either CHO, okay, and what is ketone group? It is C double bond O, okay. Okay, so this is ketone group and that is aldose group. Now based on this functional group which is there, free aldehyde group and free ketone group, again monosaccharides can be classified as aldoses and ketoses. Okay, so we can say the monosaccharides which has got a free aldehyde group, that will come under aldoses, and the one which has got free ketone group, that will come under ketoses. Okay, now so the monosaccharide contains one or more asymmetric carbon atom, and the asymmetric carbon atom is attached to 4 different groups. Okay, so I think everyone is aware with the example of glucose and fructose. Apart from that, monosaccharides are also called as reducing sugars. Okay, now what is a reducing sugar? The carbohydrates that can act as a reducing agent due to the presence of free aldehyde group or free ketone group. Okay, now what is the meaning of this? That aldehyde and keto groups have reducing character. So in chemistry we have seen that they can reduce the Tollens reagent and Fehling's, that is, or Benedict's solution. So when they are able to reduce this, they are called as reducing group. Okay, as they have got free aldehyde and ketone functional group. So example of reducing sugar will be glucose, lactose, or you can say all the monosaccharides are reducing sugars. Okay, now based on the number of carbon atoms present, this is important, based on the number of carbon atoms present, the monosaccharides are named as trioses, tetrose, pentose, hexose, and so on. So when we are describing the definition of monosaccharides, we said they are the simple sugars which can have 3 to 10 carbon atoms. Okay, which can have 3 to 10 carbon atom. So when we are saying that it is having 3 to 10 carbon atoms, so if it has got 3 carbon atom, it will be called as triose. If it will have 4 carbon atom, it will be called as tetrose. Similarly, it will go on like pentose, hexose, etc. So by this time we know that a monosaccharide which has got aldehyde group and 3 carbon group, that will be called as aldotriose. A monosaccharide which has free aldehyde group and 4 carbon atom will be called as aldotetrose, and so on. Similarly, a monosaccharide which has got free ketone group, okay, that is ketone as the functional group, and it has got 3 carbon atom, will come under ketone triose. Similarly, 4 carbon atom and a ketone functional group, ketotetrose, and so on. So this is about monosaccharide. So what we have discussed just now, monosaccharides are simple sugars or the compounds which possess free aldehyde or ketone group and 2 or more hydroxyl groups. They are the simplest sugars, like you cannot hydrolyze them further. Like if you take the example of glucose, you cannot further hydrolyze glucose. Okay, it is the most fundamental carbohydrate. You cannot further hydrolyze it. So it is the simplest form. So that will be monosaccharide because it is a single unit, single sugar moiety. You cannot further simplify it. And that is why you say that they are the simplest sugars which cannot be hydrolyzed further into smaller units. So if I have to again simplify this, let us imagine that there is a necklace. Okay, and in this necklace there is only one bead. Okay, now if there is only one bead, this is called as monosaccharide. That is single. This is not called as monosaccharide. Let us just assume. Okay, so this is an example of mono. That is single thing. If it has got more beads, okay, let us say up till 10, then that will come under oligosaccharide. Okay, so that will come under oligosaccharide over here. Fine. And when it has got more than 10 beads, okay, then that will be coming under polysaccharides. So it is a very simple analogy which we are taking, that is, if a necklace has got only one piece, that will be a mono thing, that is a single unit. If it has got 2 to 10, or you can say 3 to 10 carbon atoms, that will come under oligo. Okay, that will come under oligo. And if it has got more than 10 carbon atoms, that is many carbon atoms, that will come under polysaccharides. Okay, so monosaccharides contain a single carbon chain and are classified on the basis of number of carbon atoms they possess, and as aldoses or ketoses depending on their groups. So this we have already discussed. Yes, so you can see over here in this slide classification by carbon atoms. Now over here, this is the sugar like triose. This is what we had discussed. Triose is having 3 carbon atoms. So it is C3H6O3. So that is what we had discussed in the beginning, that it will have the formula of CH2O, or the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen is found in the ratio 1:2:1. And that is why you can see here, because it is triose, it's 3. So it is C3H6O3. Okay. Example of aldose is glyceraldehyde. An example of ketose is dihydroxyacetone. Now, we need to note one thing over here. Dihydroxyacetone is not considered as carbohydrate because of the absence of asymmetric carbon atom. Okay. Now it is not considered as a carbohydrate. The next one is tetrose. So as the word says tetra, which means 4. So it is C4H8O4. Example of aldose is erythrose, and example of ketose is erythrulose. Okay, like that we have pentoses with 5 carbon atom and hexoses with 6 carbon atom. Okay. Yes. So we can see the functions of glucose, galactose and fructose over here. So glucose is the essential energy resource for all the body functions. Other name of glucose is dextrose and blood sugar. Okay. And it is a component of each disaccharide. Also we can see the galactose, which is often freely found in nature, binds with glucose to form a sugar in milk, that is lactose. Okay, and once observed by the body, galactose is converted to glucose to provide again energy. Similarly, we have got fructose, which is known for its sweetness, that is it is sweetest of all the sugars. The next thing is oligosaccharides. Now as we had discussed, oligosaccharides are sugars which yield 2 to 10 monosaccharides molecules on hydrolysis. As the word says oligo, it's a Greek word again which means few. So oligos is a Greek word which means few, and saccharon is again a Greek word which means sugar. So when a biomolecule or when a carbohydrate is having or has 2 to 10 monosaccharide molecule, or it produces 2 to 10 monosaccharide molecules on hydrolysis, that is called as oligosaccharides. Example of an oligosaccharide is maltose. So you can see maltose over here. So maltose is an oligosaccharide which is formed of 2 monosaccharide with the combination of 2 monosaccharide, that is glucose. So glucose 1 and glucose 2, that is 2 glucose molecule together combine to give a maltose. Now one more thing is very important to note here, that these 2 glucose molecules are attached with the help of a connection or with the help of a linkage which is called as glycosidic bond or glycosidic linkage. So again, as I had mentioned, when the oligosaccharide has got 2 carbon atom, that is called as disaccharides. So disaccharides are most common among oligosaccharides. 2 monosaccharide units, it can be similar or it can be dissimilar. Like the one which we had seen previously was similar ones, that is 2 glucose molecules were there. So they were similar and that had combined to form glucose. So this can be either similar or dissimilar, and most important, they need to be held by glycosidic linkages, that is glycosidic bonds. Now what are the properties of oligosaccharides? First thing is, it is water soluble and it is sweet to taste. So if you remember the classification we had done previously, so the oligosaccharides are also a part of sugars. So carbohydrates can be classified as sugars and non-sugars. In sugars we had seen monosaccharides and oligosaccharides. So oligosaccharides are also sweet in taste and it is water soluble. Again, it can be classified as reducing and non-reducing. Now we need to understand that all the monosaccharides are reducing sugars, and some of the oligosaccharides are non-reducing, and some of the oligosaccharides are reducing. So as we have discussed this in the previous slides, what is reducing and what is non-reducing. Reducing sugar they have free aldehyde or ketone group. They have the reducing character and they can reduce Tollens reagent and Fehling solution. So we can say carbohydrates containing free aldehyde and ketone functional group are reducing sugar. Example of that will be maltose, lactose, even glucose will come in this. And whereas the non-reducing sugars which are there, they do not have free aldehyde or ketone group. That is, if the groups are not free, then they cannot reduce Tollens reagent and Fehling solution. An example of that will be sucrose. Now we'll come to the next part or the third part of classification, that is polysaccharides. Now polysaccharide is also called as glycans. So polysaccharides are non-sugars giving more than 10 molecules of monosaccharides on hydrolysis. They may also be the molecules which will be regarded as polymeric anhydrates of simple sugars. So basically, as we said, they're simple glycans, repeat units of monosaccharides. Again, they have to be held together with the help of glycosidic bonds. Now this linkage which is there, it can be linear, it can be either branched. Okay. Now as we know that polysaccharides come under non-sugars, so they don't have this sweet taste, they are amorphous substances and they are insoluble in water. And as it is polysaccharide, so it has got a very high molecular weight. Okay, it has very high molecular weight. They form colloidal solutions when heated with water. Okay, so this we had already discussed. Polymers, white and amorphous products, that is glassy. They are not sweet. They are not reducing. Yes, this is very important again. They are non-reducing sugars. They do not give typical aldose or ketose reactions, and they form colloidal solutions or suspensions. Now this polysaccharides can be again classified into two types, that is homopolysaccharides or homoglycans, or heteroglycans or heteropolysaccharides. Now what is homopolysaccharides? They are composed of only one type of monosaccharides. So the homo means what? Homo means similar type or same. So same, if it is composed of same type of monosaccharides or a mixture of monosaccharides which are of one type of monosaccharides, that will come under homopolysaccharides. So basically on hydrolysis they will yield only one type of monosaccharides. Okay. Now example of this will be starch, glycogen, cellulose, chitin, etc. And what is heteropolysaccharide? As the word says, hetero, which means different. So they are composed of mixture of monosaccharides. And when you hydrolyze this, on hydrolysis, they will yield a mixture of monosaccharides. Okay. So example of this heteropolysaccharide is heparin, hyaluronic acid, chondroitin. In fact, agar will also come under heteropolysaccharide, which is also called as mucopolysaccharides. Okay. Now let us come to functions of carbohydrates. Now we know carbohydrates are very important, but let us try to understand its different functions. Now the first function is structural components of cells. So carbohydrate serve as an important structural material. So we know, like for example, there is chitin. So chitin acts as an external exoskeleton in arthropods. Okay. Apart from that, there is also cellulose which is present in the cell wall of the plants, and it provides structural framework to the plant. So it provides a structural help, or it provides a structural material in some plants and animals. The second function of carbohydrate is it is a major source of energy. Now we know that carbohydrates are very essential to life, and the breakdown of even 1 gram of carbohydrate can give us 4 to 5 calories of energy. Now we know that glucose supplies immediate energy. You might have come across many sports person, or even in otherwise there are people who take glucose powder, because glucose provide immediate energy. So even when people are playing sports, usually what they do, they take glucose powders when they are very tired, because it will provide immediate energy to such people. So that is major source of energy. Third function of carbohydrate is storage substances of potential energy. Now what does that mean? We all know that in animals, the carbohydrate is stored in the body in the form of glycogen, and in the case of plants, it is stored in the form of starch. Okay, so it acts as a storage substance which will provide us energy whenever we require future. So glycogen is stored in the muscles, and it is not available for regulating the blood sugar level. Okay, basically glycogen is stored in the liver, which controls glucose level in the blood. The next function of carbohydrate is regulation of fat metabolism. So it is very essential for the normal oxidation of fats, and hence it acts very importantly in regulation of fat metabolism. The next function is protein sparing function. Now, as long as carbohydrate is present in our body, it will be used as source of energy. Once the carbohydrate supplied is stopped, then what will happen? Then the protein will be utilized as source of energy, and hence it is also called as protein sparing function. And that is why it is usually suggested that once in 15 days we need to keep fast. The next function is role in gastrointestinal function. Now, what is the role of this? For example, let us take the example of lactose. So this lactose which is there, it promotes the growth of desirable bacteria in the small intestine. As we all know that when we talk about the gastroflora, we have got many good bacteria and bad bacteria. But this carbohydrate, that is lactose, it is promoting the desirable bacteria in a small intestine. Now these bacteria synthesize certain B complex vitamin which will increase calcium absorption in our body. Now the next role is in metabolism. As we all know that in glycolysis or electron transport system, how this carbohydrate participates. So they have got a very important role in metabolism of different reactions of our body. The next thing is cell recognition. Now this also we know that most of the cell surfaces have got some recognition, or we can say the receptors which are present. So these receptors are chemically either glycoproteins, okay, or glycolipids. So glyco in the sense what? Carbohydrates is present. So these receptors are chemically made up of carbohydrates, and hence they have got very important role as an identifiers that will assist the cells in the recognition of each other. So if any foreign body is coming, then the cell will not accept it and it will deny its entry. Whereas if something good is coming, then it will receive and will allow inside the cell. So it is acting as a guard at the gate. The next function is supportive function. Now we have already seen this in the first point itself, like cellulose is found in plants. So it is giving support to it. Similarly, chondroitin sulfate is found in bone tissue, and as we all know, bone is the connective tissue in our body which is giving us whole support. Okay. Then there is protective function. That is, there is this heteropolysaccharide, okay, which we had studied, which act as a biological lubricating material for protection of the cell surfaces. That is, they protect the friction surface such as blood vessels, urinogenital tracts, digestive tracts, mucous membranes of the nose. So we know that mucous membranes are present in the nose, trachea, joints, etc. So basically carbohydrates act against any mechanical damage by lubricating it. So that is its one more function. Similarly, we should also know, like, one of the heteropolysaccharide is also heparin. So heparin is an anticoagulant. That is, our blood is fluid, okay, it is not solid, and if it becomes solid, that is, if it gets coagulated, then what will happen? A person will immediately die. So we have got a very good anticoagulant, that is heparin, which is present in our blood, which does not allow this blood to solidify or coagulate. Okay, and these are different functions of carbohydrates. I hope that this carbohydrates has this video has helped you to understand some basics of carbohydrates. It is very simple if we really understand it. Thank you everyone.